Hey guys, so I was online yesterday and I was chatting with a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, been a friend for uh 16, 15, 16 years, maybe even longer. But at any rate, we were talking about one of the things that came up was motivation. Okay? And I said to him the same thing that if you've watched me before, ever, you've probably heard me say this before. I said it yesterday and I'm going to say it again. Today's no exception. We were talking about motivation. And I told him, forget motivation. Motivation is crap. All right? Motivation is never there when you need it. Don't depend on it. Let me give you an example of that. Okay? I can give you an example right now as it pertains to my life in this very moment in time. If you've been watching Resolve Life Training, Trina and I had some pretty ambitious goals this year. I got several things going on. First and foremost was a bicycle ride from Key West, Florida to Canada. That's done. I did that. I had a few other things going on that I really haven't been talking that much about because I was so focused on the bike ride. But the bike ride's over. I still have several other things in the hopper. I wanted to climb 50,000 feet on a Jacob's ladder this year. If you don't know what a Jacob's ladder is, it would take up too much time for me to describe it. If you watch Resolve Life Training, if you're part of our Facebook group, you've probably seen pictures of me standing in front of it. But if you don't know exactly what it is, you could Google it real quick and get an idea of what it is. It's just a hellish exercise device. I wanted to climb 50,000 feet in 1 year. I've done that. I just sat down at the kitchen table. I pulled out my books, my journals. If you're not journaling, that's a whole nother discussion. You should be. I pulled out my journals. I looked over the past year. I'm already at 62,000 feet. Okay, so I finished the bike ride from Key West to Canada. I've more than completed the 50,000 feet on the Jacob's ladder. I also wanted to bicycle 5,000 miles and I wanted to run 500 miles. Now, the ride to Canada helped a lot with the bike ride. So I'm at like 4,300 miles and I've got 7 months left to go. I envision with the amount of riding that I do, I can get another 700 miles in the next 6 months. I routinely do 100 miles a week, so I'm not even necessarily worried about that. Okay? It's the 500 miles of running that's given me trouble. I've spent so much time doing so many other things that right now I should be at about, 250 miles. I should have 250 miles of running if I want to do 500 miles in a year. I think yesterday or today is halfway through the year. In either event, I'm only at 143. Okay, so that's a real problem for me. I'm almost 100 miles behind the pace. So I've completed the ride to Key West. I've completed the 50,000 feet of climbing on the Jacob's ladder. Unless I'm involved in a car wreck or something, I don't envision having any trouble completing the 5,000 miles of biking. But the 500 miles of running, that's going to be a problem. It's not a problem that I can't conquer. I will. But it's going to be a problem. And this is how this all ties in together. I tend to ramble. Okay, I'm all over the map. But I'm fixing to tie it all together. Due to some scheduling mishaps on my part, which is more often than not the case, I went and did a 45-minute leg workout with Trina yesterday. If you're a member of the Resolve Life Training group, you probably saw a few pictures of it. Did 45 minutes. We did squats, and we did hack squats, and we did leg presses, and we did lunges. It was a 45-minute organized leg workout. The problem is, today's a run day, and there's no getting out of it. I can't reschedule this. I have my margin of error over the next 6 months to get this 500 miles of running is razor thin. I can't put this off. I can't skip it. I can't double up tomorrow because I'm not in good enough shape to go do a 10-mile run tomorrow. It has to be done today. So, how does that tie into motivation? It's easy. I fucking don't have any. That's how it ties in. There's no motivation for me to go running today. A universe where I'm motivated to run today after a 45-minute leg workout yesterday does not exist. Okay, that universe does not exist. I would rather eat crushed glass than run today. I shit you not. At any rate, I think I've made my point. I don't want to run today. There is no motivation. There's no talk that's going to give me motivation. There's no music that's going to give me. I don't want to do it. But it's going to get done. And I'll tell you why it's going to get done. Because I have a goal and I'm committed to it. Stop. Did you hear that thunder? There's a huge storm moving in. I guess there's going to be like a tropical depression spinning around in the Gulf of Mexico 10 miles offshore by tomorrow or Thursday. At any rate, stop wasting your time looking for motivation. Don't come to me for motivation. Don't go to Tony Robbins for motivation. Don't go to Eric Thomas forget motivation. What you need to do is find commitment. All right? You need to have self-discipline. You need to say, I am going to run 500 miles in this year, which for me equates to 250 miles in the next 6 months, which is relatively easy for runners, but I'm not a runner. I'm a guy who can run. I'm not a runner. It takes commitment. I've committed myself to doing 50,000 feet of climbing, 5,000 miles of biking, 500 miles of running. I've done the 50,000 feet of climbing. The 5,000 miles of biking is going to be relatively easy. It's the 500 miles of running, but it doesn't change the fact that I've committed to it. Motivation is irrelevant. I don't need motivation. I don't give a damn about motivation. I don't have any motivation. I have commitment and I have self-discipline. I'm going to turn this off, throw this phone in my backpack, and drive over to the gym and run on the treadmill because it is about to turn torrential. All right, and I don't like running where there's deep puddles because I've got a really bad ankle and one wrong step into a puddle that I don't see, and I'm not running again for a month. So I got to be careful about that. So I'm going to throw this phone in the backpack, drive over to the gym, get on the treadmill, and I'm going to run for 5 miles. I don't want to. There's no motivation. Nobody on earth can motivate me to do it. I'm committed. Okay? And I'm disciplining myself to go do what has to be done. So that's the message. I wanted to put that message out. The talk with my buddy yesterday just had me thinking a lot about this last night. And I know there's a lot of people that want to start a fitness plan. This applies to everything. This applies to starting a business. This applies to going to school. This applies to taking classes. This applies to exercise. It applies to everything. I'm talking about fitness right now. But you can use this plan for anything. Don't waste a lot of time looking for motivation. If you're going to spend time, if you're going to invest time searching for a way to help you get things done, study commitment and discipline. Okay, forget motivation. Don't worry about motivation. You're never going to feel like it. This is hard. 50,000 feet of climbing on a ladder is hard. 5,000 miles of biking is hard. 500 miles of biking, or 500 miles of running, I should say, is hard. Okay, there's no motivation for it. You're never going to feel like it. Worry about committing yourself to doing it and having the self-discipline to force yourself to do it when you don't want to, because the vast majority of the time you're not going to want to. So I wanted to put that out. And I want to thank, I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his name, my buddy Jason. He's been a dear friend, a teacher in a lot of regards, a confidant. He inspired me to have this talk. Okay, I spent a lot of time thinking about what he said. I spent a lot of time thinking about what I said to him, and I wanted to put it out to everybody because I think it's a good subject, and I think there's a lot of people who need to hear this right now. I think they're stumbling around the house looking for motivation to get out the door and go do whatever. Stop it. Stop looking for motivation. Figure out what you want to do. Commit to it. Discipline yourself to do it when you don't want to, because the vast majority of the time you're not going to want to. But that's actually, now I'm beginning to procrastinate. That's it. I hope this helped. I hope there's somebody who's in the predicament that I'm addressing, and I think there probably is. I think the vast majority of people are. They're wasting too much time looking for motivation. Stop looking for motivation. Commitment and discipline. That's it. Now I'm wasting time. I'm procrastinating. I got to go run.